Good afternoon. Hope all is well, beautiful people. So, ride to the gym. We are talking today about Shannon Sharpe and Chad Johnson. What they was talking about on Club Shay Shay last night after the game, doing a recap. They started talking about flights because Chad was doing a jab at Shannon Sharpe. Like, man, you went to that Colorado game, you and Stephen A. on a private jet. He like, man, you could have just flew down there on Spirit. So he like, how much do it cost? And he like, man, probably about $10,000 per hour, a little bit more than that. So basically gonna cost you $50,000, $60,000 to be able to get there, however it works. And that's probably just one way. Chad like, look, I'm going on Spirit where I need to get to for $80. And Shannon Sharpe was like, look, man, you see I was able to wake up with breakfast? He like, look, we can stop at McDonald's on the way to the airport. So this debate is, if you have the money, should you spend it? Now, Shannon Sharpe, in his defense, he was like, look, when you die, I ain't never seen nobody go in that grave with some money. You are hoping that your kids do right, but they're not going to be as frugal as you. They're going to spend your money. So you're going to be frugal to save money. You're going to die, give it to your kids, and they're going to ball out with your money. Versus, you don't got to go all the way crazy, but sometimes you have to splurge. What's y'all thoughts on that? My thing is, and I don't have that type of money, when I looked at both of their networks for this video, said Shannon Sharpe net worth was around $12 million. In his NFL career, he made $15 million, and he'd been retired for over a decade. So longer than that, probably, So he really kind of lived check to check. I believe his contract probably made like $2 million a year. So Shannon Sharpe don't have that much money coming in. You got his pension money. He don't get extra money. Chad Ochocinco net worth, when you Google it, was around $15 million, right around the same within $3 million. His NFL career, he made about $45 million. Made more money because new times. So Chad Ochocinco definitely have more money than Shannon Sharpe, if I was just to assume just by the numbers and common sense alone, right? And everybody know Chad Ochocinco it's a correlation of being frugal. You could call it cheap, saving money. It's to the extreme to certain instances. Now, here go my thoughts. My thoughts is, you only live once. I lived at a cemetery. I didn't live at a cemetery. I worked at a cemetery for a while. And I was a family service counselor. John Doe died. They called me. I do all the paperwork and that stuff, right? So every day I'm seeing deaths. I done seen deaths from kids to 100 years old, all the above. So I know everybody's going to die. So I understand where Shannon Sharpe is like, look, sometimes you just got to spend the money. In that instance, he's not taking a private jet all the time. But when you have a historic moment, whereas like right now, Colorado Buffaloes is the number one talked about team in the world, the highest ticket price, the number one. And if you're VIP, when you going, the coach personally, you get to be there and do it big, go ahead and do it big. I'm not mad at that. That time, say that trip cost some $100,000, right? And let's say, just for number purposes, and I know his YouTube is making crazy money, but let's just say he made $2 million this year. Just $2 million profit even. It cost him $100,000. What is that? 5% of his net worth in one day to enjoy it for a historic moment. That's a lot when you look at the percentage wise, but you find a way to write it off. It's a business expense, and I did it and I recorded content. You can finesse it when you're rich enough. So I'm not mad at that. But when you go to Chad Johnson, as somebody that was a flight attendant for 10 years and had free flights around the world, traveling on a budget is a game changer. A game changer, because at the end of the day, Chad Johnson could have been at the exact same game, the exact same seats, the exact same VIP treatment as as Shannon Sharpe. The only thing he had to deal with was more inconveniences, such as going to the airport, going through airport security, sitting next to somebody on the plane and not being as comfortable. So it's more of an inconvenience, but is your net worth high enough to cover that inconvenience? So it's like, okay, if you're saying, hey man, I'd rather spend $100,000 to be inconvened for 3 hours. I don't have that type of money, and it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard. Like when I tell you guys, if I'm not probably making $100 million a year, I can't really see myself in a private jet because the numbers don't make enough sense for me. And somebody that Spirit is going to get the job done. Because my thing is, no matter what plane I'm on, I'm going to fall asleep. I'm going to fall asleep. So the last thing I leave you guys with was, I was 100% Chad Johnson. Whenever, like when I was a flight attendant, all my coworkers will fly first class to different countries and everywhere. Business class, it's the best experience. But you had to pay like $200 or $300 for it. That's nothing compared to that $2,000 or $3,000 the average person have to pay. Me, I always said that's dumb because I can just ride in the back, have a whole row to myself, and I'm going to fall asleep anyway. So I will save that $200 to $300 and use that on this trip because we broke anyway, right? I did that until I went to London. I'm like, okay, I'm going to get a first class seat. That's probably like $210, whatever it is. When I tell y'all, when them seats lay all the way back, they feeding you breakfast, lunch, dinner, giving you everything you want, you're like, I don't want to not do this ever again. So what you do is you hook. What's your thoughts?